Step in my dojo, you
Step in my dojo, you
step in my.
Hey. Yo, what up?
Hey. Hello. Welcome.
At Producer Dojo, we have a constant stream of live events waiting for you to come get your learn on. Sign up at the link below to make sure you don't miss out. All right, so now up next, we have a very special guest, one half of electronic music duo Future Twist. These guys are basically taking over the world right now. They have gone so far, so fast, and made incredible music along the way. They're going to share some amazing lessons about, how to achieve high quality results through quantity, as well as the efficacy of the timer beat methods from the EDM cookbook, also in the complete collection. But whether you have the EDM cookbook or not, I'm sure you're going to get a lot of value out of this lesson because, man, this is just like... It's like a math formula. Basically, if you do what's in this next lesson, you will get better at music really fast. Like, there's no one who does this who doesn't get better really fast. So you're going to want to pay extra special attention and give lots of extra love in the chat for Future Twist.
What is up, Producer Dojo? My name is Kris. I am one half of cyberpunk-based duo Future Twist. I hope everyone's been enjoying the summit so far. We are super honored to be back here and involved with the Producer Dojo program after graduating from the class of 808 about 2 years ago. We've gone on to do some crazy awesome things, like we've gotten ourselves a manager. We played a lot of cool virtual shows. We've released with a lot of awesome labels. And we now even have a track with over 100,000 streams on Spotify with fellow class of 808 alumni A-Dead. It's been a super wild ride since we left the dojo, and I just want to tell you guys about something that we learned here with the class of 808 that is still absolutely fundamental to every studio session we have, and that is confidence in the studio and finishing fast. Contrary to what a lot of early producers may think about music production, is that more hours on your project file means better music, and this is definitely not the case. Some producers will continue to just polish and mix down and rewrite their tracks for what can seem like endless amounts of hours, but as ill.Gates has taught us through a number of his live streams, perfectionism is often just procrastination. Some producers will spend hours tweaking knobs constantly back and forth trying to get that better sound, but it really does not have to be this way. One of my personal favorite tracks, and easily one of our best tracks in our unreleased vault that we're ready to pitch out to some of our favorite labels, has under 30 hours on the project file. And that's absolutely not because we've ascended among the EDM stars to make grand music in record time. It's actually just because of this well honed in on skill that we've been practicing over the past couple of years that we learned here at the dojo. With the exception of some collab tracks and going back and rewriting our own tracks entirely, pretty much all of our music stays under 40 hours consistently by the time we're ready to pitch that out to labels. So how did we get here? Well, we have to go all the way back to early 2019 when we were still students in the class of 808. At this time, we were full-time students in our senior year of high school. We had part-time jobs so we could get ready to move out. We were promoting for local venues and seeing shows on a very regular basis. We were interns for an event company. At the end of the day, we were lucky if we had any more than 3 hours of free time to ourselves before we had to get enough sleep for the next day. So we realized that we had just missed February album writing month, and we had just over 3 months left on our time with the dojo, which worked out to be just a little over 100 days. So we decided to take on one of the biggest challenges that we had ever faced at that time, and that we like to call the 100 track challenge. We wrote up a contract for ourselves that said for the next 100 days we had to finish a track start to finish. It had to start with an empty project file, and it had to be finished, and it had to be uploaded no later than 2 a.m. that night. Any day that we missed finishing a track, we would have to make 2 the next day just to make up for it. And if at any point we considered this exercise a total loss and we just couldn't keep up with it anymore, we would have to give a friend of ours $1,000. Each of us had to give him $1,000 if we called it a loss. Obviously, $1,000 when we're getting ready to move out, that's no easy hit. So it was really good motivation. It was that sort of fear of failure working in our favor to stay committed to this exercise. So all three of us signed this contract, and it was effective the next day. So in the first couple of days, we had some interesting ideas. We had some tracks that, they were fun. They were along the lines of what we had been writing already. I remember on day 8, we wrote this really cool Psy-bass track that I was super pumped about and still really like. Bass track that I was super pumped about and still really like. And within the first 3 weeks, we had written everything from glitch hop, electro, bass house. At one point, we even did this spoken word poetry piece.
Watching the world swing by my window, I'm killing the dawn with a dwindling desire to keep my mind going.
But after a while, you start running out of ideas. By day 25, you're like, oh my God, I'm only a quarter of the way through this. Like, how am I going to keep coming up with ideas? Now, remember at this time, we were full-time students with part-time jobs. I remember there were quite a few days that we would trade naps on Quinn's floor in our bedroom studio just to get enough sleep. We had that contract pinned up on the wall that said one new track every single day. So we kept writing and we kept finishing music, and honestly, when you're trading naps on your bedroom studio floor to try and get enough sleep that night, you really don't have time to overthink things like your sidechain or your mixer routing or stuff like that. You don't have this extra time for yourself to get that kick super punchy or to remix down your track, 4 extra times to make it sound good. You are writing out the track, hitting render, saying good enough, and going to sleep. Now I can hear a lot of people thinking, how is this good advice at all? How is this the right advice for a new producer? Sleeping on the floor and just saying good enough? Like, that doesn't sound like development at all. But trust me when I say that this is all worth it, because really, when you're on track to end your studio session in 6 hours, trying to make it 5 so you can get a little more sleep that night, you don't have the time to overcomplicate things and overthink things. You're just writing. So by day 15, you decide to build a mixer preset because you know exactly the places that you need to start speeding up. By day 20, you have a library of drums and sounds that you go to regularly that you know you don't have to spend a lot of time making sound good. And then by day 25, you're definitely experimenting with different genres because let's be honest, you're not going to want to write a month's worth of bass house. And then once you get around like day 50, you're almost done with your track before you can even stop and consider, hey, does this sound any good? Is this really an inspiring idea? This 100 track challenge has a ton of benefits for all producers, no matter where you are on your journey, whenever you decide to get started. You learn not to overcomplicate things like your sidechain or your mixer routing. You learn not to overthink things like your drum beats or your inspiration that day. You realize the importance of having a well-organized library of sound design and of drum samples so that your studio session can go as quick as possible. And like they say, from quantity comes quality. There's a ratio. I think it's like 1 out of every 10 tracks that you write is actually going to be gold. That seems to hold true with everything that we've written. So now think about it. You've written 100 tracks. If 1 out of every 10 of those is good, now you have 10 good tracks ready to be released as an album or as an EP, multiple EPs. You could do them all as singles. And you have so many original ideas that you can dig through to find those best ideas and find those little pieces of inspiration that you can now take back and recycle back into your library to use in better ideas later on. So when you spend all that time rehearsing your fundamentals and getting that muscle memory down to a T, you have so much extra time for all of these details for each new track that comes up. So when you do get that hit of inspiration and that really good idea that you really want to turn into something, you don't have to worry about your sidechain or getting slowed down by your mixer routing. It's go, go, go. You're ready to bring that idea to life. While we were doing this challenge, we would still take these tracks that we really liked and the ones that we would spend a little more time on, and we would send them out to small labels and little promotional groups to try and, bring our name up, get a couple fans, post them on our Instagram and stuff like that. And on day 74, we wrote a track called Martian Bass, which is this cool cyberpunk, dark, drum and bass, drum step track, which caught the attention of our current manager. Martian Bass is the only track from this exercise that still remains up today, and it has been an absolute jumping off point for the style that we've now designed and reshaped and have been focusing on turning into our own sound. We've seen so many benefits from this exercise even multiple years later. For one, we can tell which ideas are actually worth spending that time on. When you've written 100 tracks, you can tell, okay, that one was a throwaway. Oh yeah, that was the one where I really wanted to sleep, so I just copy and pasted the same thing over and over. But that one had a pretty good, I'm going to revisit that one. That one has a really good idea. Now in our studio sessions, we're huge believers in the idea phase. When you write a track, you get those first couple of stages in your track, you know where your inspiration is coming from, and you have a much better ear to tell, is this a really good idea? Is this a good track? Is this one worth my time? You know so much more now, because you can also get out so much of that idea so much faster, because you don't have to worry about what the drum beat sounds like, where the sidechain is at, where the mixing is at. You know that already. You've written 100 tracks already that have that basis and focus on the fundamentals, that now you have the fundamentals of this idea already figured out, and now you can sort of realize, which direction do I want to take this in? Is this worth continuing to work on? In every student that we've met through the dojo and through our own personal connections, we recommend the 100-day challenge to them. It can be a little scary, but that's sort of why you set up that contract, which actually makes it more scary now that I think about it. It's really a great exercise to take on, and you will see so many benefits from learning to finish fast and learning not to spend a ton of time on each individual track. It's not going to make your track better whether you have 30 hours or 40 hours or 50 hours on it. If you know what you're doing and you've rehearsed down and you've got your fundamentals down, you don't need to worry about it. You will have so much time to focus on the details of your track. So the main philosophies that make up the 100-day challenge are the idea that perfectionism is actually procrastination, the idea that from quantity comes quality, and that letting your tracks write themselves and finishing fast can lead to so many great benefits when it comes to confidence in the studio. So here's a quick summary of everything you need to do if you want to do the 100-track challenge. Step 1 is to write a contract or otherwise set up the fear of failure to work in your favor. In our case, this is where we said if we called this exercise a total loss, we would give $1,000 to our friend. Now, every single day, you have to go into your studio from an empty project file. You can't have anything started. It can't be a remix, nothing like that. Empty project file. And then just write. Write music. Just write until you feel like it's done. Doesn't need to be the best. Doesn't need to be legendary. Doesn't need to change the game or blow the whole EDM world to smithereens. You just need to finish something. Then make sure you're saving it or uploading it in a way that verifies that you got it done every single day, and give yourself a timed deadline to have that saved or uploaded by. Make sure on your time off you're helping yourself out by organizing your drum libraries, getting a bunch of samples prepped up, maybe doing a bunch of sound design. Make it easy on yourself. Set up a project template or even save some presets for your individual mixer channels. Finish something every single day. You could say, I only want to write 1 drop every day, or you could say it needs to be a full track with an intro, 2 drops, build-ups, and an outro. It's totally up to you. If you miss a day, the next day you have to do 2. If you miss that day, the next day you have to do 3. Don't let these days stack up. Consistency is key. If you do fail, you need to be committed to your punishment. There's no sense in rigging a punishment against yourself if you know you're not going to follow through with it. And assuming you don't fail, go back and listen to those 100 tracks you just wrote. Find the best ones and rework them. You're so fast now. Go fill out those details. Go add in that vocal line you wish you had added. Do whatever you want, man. I hope you guys have enjoyed this lesson. I hope you guys have learned something. I hope maybe a few of you are considering taking on the 100-day challenge. I would love to hear what you guys come up with. My name is Kris. I'm from Future Twists. Feel free to reach out to me on any of our platforms. We love to talk to you guys. We're open for lessons through the Producer Dojo. We have a marketplace coming up. We have some music that's going to be released through the Dojo label soon. So we're super excited to be back here with this community. And take care.
It's like that.